My name is Sarah, and I'm 27 years old. At 14 months old, my dad killed himself. He was 25. He was a drug addict, and so was my mother. She suffered with drugs. But we moved to Kingsport, and that's when things started getting bad. My stepdad, he was a kingpin drug dealer. It was very chaotic. You never knew what was going to happen. One day I would be in my room listening to music, and my stepdad would just come busting in and break everything in my room. And to get away from it, about the age of 12, 13, I started hurting myself. Just that pain took me away from all the other stuff that was going on. I started using drugs after a while. I started smoking pot with my friends and drinking. Was out partying one night, or one day. I was at the lake, and we was all partying out the lake, and I met this guy, and he was so handsome. He always wanted me to have sex with him, and I wouldn't. So he ended up raping me. I was very messed up after that. There for 3 months, I wouldn't leave my room. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And then finally, a few of my friends got me to go back out again, and I met this guy. Probably about 3 months later, we ended up married. 4 days after I was married, I found out I was pregnant. And I was 16 years old. But after I got married, though, 13 weeks later, he went to federal prison, and I turned into a very promiscuous young girl, drinking a lot, staying out, had a newborn, but luckily my mom was there to watch her. Started using heavier drugs then, got to cocaine, and I ended up getting pregnant. I was probably about 8 or 9 months after I had Asia. I got pregnant again, and I got an abortion. And it just seemed to be getting, deeper and deeper. Like the shame and the guilt. The guy that I was with, we ended up. He started taking pain pills, and it was methadone. And he told me, I remember telling me to this day, I remember telling me that you can take as much as you want because we'll always have it. So about a year after taking this, we ended up we ran out. That's the first time I'd ever went through withdrawals, and it was pure hell for me. So that's when I went to the Oxys and the Roxys and anything that would help with the pain of detox. It was horrible. I became a full-blown crack addict. Selling my stuff at home. I was selling Asia's toys and clothes, and after I sold everything that I owned, I started selling myself. God had his hand on me, or I wouldn't be here. I just didn't, gave myself away for drugs. After I would have spats with the cutting, and it started again, and I ended up overdosing on like 2,100 milligrams of trazodone, which was a lot. I should have been dead. And I got put into the Pavilion. I'd been in and out of those places all my life, and this was in 2008. And I met a guy in there. I ended up getting pregnant with my son Braden. It was a total surprise because everything I went through with my 2 girls, I had debated abortion. Because I'd had 3, before. But on all this time period, I'd had 3 abortions, and I was like, what's another one? I don't need a kid right now. I don't need a kid. And I was this close to having, the money together to get an abortion. And by the time, I was 15, 16 weeks pregnant, I wasn't able to do it. I decided, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have him, and I'm gonna straighten up. So I started going back to the methadone clinic again. I remember I'd be at home and I'd read Psalms, and I was just crying out to the Lord to help me, to pull me out of the pit that I was in. I went out clubbing and I'd got just trashed, and I came back home and I downed every pill pretty much that I could find that I had. I got to the hospital. My brother, he was sort of used to this by now. And he got me to the hospital, and they hurried up and they pumped my stomach. This was about 45 minutes later. And they ended up retrieving every pill that I had taken. None of them had dissolved at all. And that was so the Lord, because I was meant to die that day. Since I didn't die, I know God was giving me a second chance. That He obviously had plans for me. I tried too many times to take my life, and I wasn't going anywhere. So I just, this is my second chance. I kept waiting for the withdrawals to happen, because when you've taken major pain meds and nerve pills, then I knew the withdrawals were coming, but they never came. And I felt yet again I'd been given a second chance to do what it is that God's called me to do. And I know the very thing that He's delivering me from, that He has delivered me from, that one day He'll use me to help people get free from. God gave me a second chance.